So, hey guys, Chauzu here. So in this video I thought I'd go through the OPTC Awards 2023. I did watch the stream live, so these aren't news to me. I thought I'd go through all of the winners and leave some small commentary. We'll see how much. I haven't really decided that. We'll see as we go on. If you want to see the awards yourself, I'm leaving the link down below, so do check it out if you are interested. But yeah, the first category was Best Extra Island Free-to-Play Unit, and the winner, not much to talk about, in the Law and Kid amazing free-to-play unit. I think most people think Blitz Kaido is very good as well, including me. But the other two is clear recency bias. You'll see a lot of that going forward. Like, let's take the Login Luffy for example. I think he's maybe not awful, but he has little reason to be used at all. Very underwhelming units, I'd say. The TCG Luffy, that is. Moving on, they have the best game mode unit with Treasure Map, Kizuna, and PKA units, and honestly, this is quite baffling. Like, I don't really rate any of these legends high. Like, Lead Performance was good that one single super boss, but other than that, they are pretty inconsequential, and the rest have nothing to do here. Like, the Kizuna Yamato is a bit whatever. Treasure Map Yamato is also whatever. PKA Roger is outright bad. So, yeah, very bizarre list, I must say. Pretty sure I didn't vote for any of these myself. Best Treasure Map Rare Recruit. I do agree with most of these. This was pretty good voting by the people. Race Max, well-deserved winner. He can do so many different things. Incredibly unique. Very similar to that Legend Uanko. We'll talk a bit more about that later, in that you can get a lot of different stuff from his special, depending on the team. Cyanol, I think second is a bit high, but sure. Actually, I don't think he should be here at all. He was cool for his debut, but he doesn't really see use a lot anymore. Ushimaru should probably be second. Goated unit for sure. And Scizor is also really good. Maybe the second best Zoro of the year after the Legend. So, not a lot to complain about in this category. Best Kizuna Rare Recruit, honestly, nothing to talk about here. Kizuna Rare Recruits in general are meh. I had a hard time voting myself. We see a clear recency bias with the TCG units who are not bad, but they are not any better than other Kizuna units, so yeah, nothing to get upset over, I'd say. Best PvP Rare Recruit, and I know a lot of people disagree, but I don't agree with King at all. Like, even with strength being really good right now, thanks to the new Luffy, I don't really think King elevates that team that much. Luffy handles it by himself. And King is also awful as a sub because of his high CD. And he ends up never getting launched. And his special is also incredibly RNG with how many units it hits. So as someone who has used King a lot, he has no place being the winner here. I'd say that Blue Yam is the clear winner. And I'm a bit biased, but Sasaki really carried me a lot when I won Pyro Rumble, so I rate him high myself. And I can't really talk about Shiki, I haven't used him. Best support, and yeah, this category is laughable, to be honest. Like, Otama winning, she's a mediocre support rare recruit. She's nothing more than okay. Momo being second is fine, but you know what my first is? It's the Barto, and it's hilarious that with all of the recency bias in this voting, somehow Barto doesn't get first. That's like, he's the best supporter recruit by far this year. He should have won this by a landslide. I knew Queen will get high because it's like free damage, but that's everything it is, and the free damage is minuscule, and still it's only for a handful of units, so yeah, I don't really rate Queen myself. Best rare recruits. I don't have much to say here. The winner is a bit weird. I don't even remember what this Nami does. That's how unremarkable she is. Of these, I guess the one I remember the most is the Sai-san. I actually remember the other three pretty well. The Sai-sanji from last New Year that can get his special back, incredible good. Dex Robin from Annie, good. Sai-Kom was also pretty good with the double special. So it's just that Nami. They talked about Nami maybe winning for her art, and I don't see any other reason for her to win. Best level limit break. I hated this category. I knew it will turn out like this. It turned out to be a pseudo 6+ vote. So they ignored all of the normal limit break, level limit break, and just looked at what 6+ they liked. Very disappointing. And I don't even think Stampy Luffy gets that much from the level limit break, which is the issue with voting with the 6+, because they get both buffs at the same time. So I personally boycotted any 6+ Legend for this vote, so I'll also boycott these results. Best Super Tandem. And yeah, not much to talk about. Like, Nami and Zoro is a toss-up. For me, the way I view it is that whoever you got maxed is the one you'd vote for. So I'd vote for Zoro because I've had Zoro maxed for a long time. I only recently maxed Nami, so I haven't really used her as much. So that's basically how I see it. I talked a lot about Kaido versus Yamato, the versus Yamato Super Tandem. Good on paper, but most of the time it makes it harder to use the Zoro or Nami Super Tandem, who are obviously superior. I also want to give a shout out to Kid and Law, because in terms of damage output, they are the first strongest in the game. So should be here instead of Albert for sure. Next one is best ship upgrade. Not much to talk about here. All 4 of these worthy. Ironically, I've only done one of these myself in Sunny Gang, by the way. But yeah, there's like 30+ ships, lots of possible ones. Not much to complain about here. Best strength legend. Not a lot of options to choose from. Kaido won, and I probably have to take the L with Kaido. I saw him as an easy skip. I'll probably make a video about that sometime, but it's quite ironic in retrospect, since I based that on his viability in Super Boss, which I think turned out to be right, but I overlooked his utility in other modes, which has proved to be problematic for me. So I really missed not owning him. So yeah, you get it wrong sometimes, but I just overlooked the wider potential of the unit. Other than that, like, Kobe should probably not be on this list. He's a bad meme, I'd say. Keith Naboa is okay. As for Dex Legend, Sanji won over versus Yamato, which is probably fair. Honestly, I have nothing to say about this. I think it's actually pretty accurate, the Dex vote. As for Quick, Robin won. I don't really agree here, since it's only Super Boss. She should definitely be in the top 4. Shoutouts to the voters actually putting Hiyori on here. She's definitely one of the best Quick Legends of the year. And I agree with all of the 4 units here. It's just that I probably put Zoro first overall, despite being a pretty flawed unit. Best Psy Legend, and yeah, winner is obvious in Gear 5 Luffy. Runner-up also pretty obvious in Nami, and then we have Momo and Annie Shanks, and also a very uncontroversial list. I don't really disagree with that. As for Psy, they just put all of the Kaido units. Personally, I'd drop Yak for Apu. I think Apu is a lot of fun. Very cool unit, both in PvE and in PvP. And Yak is pretty unremarkable, even if he has good utility. So I'm not upset about it, to be honest. All of these are good. Best Duo Legend, easy win for Namikarina. Luffy and Yamato getting second is a joke, honestly. I dislike that unit so much. Law and Kid, I can dislike them in similar ways, but at least you don't have to think about like getting hit or defeating units to optimize the super swap like Luffy and Yamato. And I'm very happy that Rayleigh and Gaban got the recognition in 4th place. Probably one of the most used units overall this year, has been incredibly useful in so many modes. Then we have Best Super Sugo and Exclusive Legend. Gear 5 again, then we have Nami, Sanji, and Robin. And don't think you can really disagree too much. I maybe drop Sanji there in retrospect, since with Luffy right now, 6+ Luffy in the Super Boss, you don't really need to use Sanji that much, at least not for the rush. But it's not a big deal, like Zoro could have been in the top 4 instead of him. That's basically it. Best Super Evolution, and we got the 6+ Gear 5 Luffy, which is fine. There is an open goal joke here in that this is actually the only winner, or this is the only 6+ where the 6+ is worse than the 6-star, but they still won the Best Super Evolution. Of course, it's a side grade, so it's hard to compare like that, but 6-star Luffy is definitely a unit rate higher in general than the 6+. Neko and Inu 6+, also well deserved, such an amazing buff they got. Roger 6+ is weird, it's not bad, but it's same but better basically. And finally we have Uta 6+, which not really a buff, but you can use Uta with shooters, so I'm happy the voters appreciate that fact. Next up, we have Verse Super Evolution. Worthy winner, but yeah, I disagree with Sunny and Judge being here. And Luffy and Lion Kid is actually also a Verse 5+, even if it's hard to count non-legends, I'd say. And we 2 Big Mom, I've said it before, I kinda disagree, but of course in a vacuum she's pretty bad, but great for Grand Voyage. Best game mode, and I was super surprised here because I actually voted for 3 of these 4 modes. So it's really cool to see that people like Arena, Treasure Map, and Pirate King Avengers. 3 of my favorite modes. The other mode I would vote was of course Grand Voyage, but that was never making it into the top 4. And I knew Kisuna and Super Kisuna would win, even if I disagree myself. But still, good to see that I agree with the community in this aspect at least. Now we have the best legend artwork. I have nothing to say about this really. Don't really care about it. Best update feature. The winner was the fact that we can now tap on buffs to see the actual value. It's still a bit limited though. They talked about it a bit on the stream too. Like for chain locks you can't see the value, for example. But yeah, honestly, like all of these are good. I like all updates that make like add features to the game or have quality of life. Anything added, good in my book. Moment of the year. A pretty boring winner, the Gear 5 release. The one thing I want to note is that we have 2 of the 3 Super Sugos in this vote. And the Super Sugo not here is the Annie, which just adds to my own idea that making the Annie the way it was is probably one of the biggest mistakes Bandai has made. I also agree with the Super Evos, and the 6+ Uta was pretty cool. Next vote is Content Creator of the Year. And yeah, going to talk a bit more about this here. The name is blocked a bit, but 4th place is Subconscious, of course. The GOAT himself would be higher if he just wanted to make content more regularly. But yeah, we have the same top 3, but the only change is that I finished second this time, ahead of Stump, with Tosko of course winning. And first I want to add the caveat that the vote is incredibly close. Second place could have been either me or Stump, not a big deal. And another thing to note is that the votes are a lot lower this year. Last year I got over 500 votes, for example, and Toad a lot more than that. So there's less people voting. Who knows why? And things like this can sway very easily. Like maybe I made one extra post about the vote that influenced people to vote, and people who follow me are more inclined to vote me, for example. So let's ignore the fact that I got second. Like the important thing is that it's pretty clear that a lot of people consider me like one of the pillars of this community, which is really cool. And I must say that the gang on the stream said very kind things about me, which was very fun to see, because like it's not like I get a lot of bad comments, quite a few, but a lot are supportive, but they're also not like they are of the more simple kind of love your work, keep doing what you do, something like that. But here was very well thought out and articulate praise for me, which did surprise me. Like being called like the subconscious of global was incredibly humbling. It's like the biggest compliment I could get, to be honest. And I personally disagree there, but I really appreciate the sentiment. And they also talked a bit about how I give the perspective of a more try-hard player. I'm not sure, don't remember really the word they said about that, but that is true. And Clarissa, I think that's her name, also said that she copied a lot of my teams, or watched them at least for like PK and such, I imagine. And they joked a bit about it being hard with all of the level 150 and such, but yeah. Sadly, that's reality now with all of the buffs, and being a try-hard player that also spends, like, the box just ends up being that good. Also, my boy Nitro Sage got 5th, so I'm super happy for that. Maybe he can break into the top 4, but I think that's pretty hard, with the top 3 feeling pretty solid, and Subconsci will always get a lot of the votes for the things he does, but yeah, Nitro has really stepped it up, makes the best Grand VR teams on global for sure. But yeah, thanks for all of you who voted. That's just super cool in my book. I'm super humbled. We have only 2 categories left. I honestly don't care too much about them. Worst Legend of the Year, I will talk a bit about this category though. And they went through like the top 10 before this. And what really annoyed me personally was the fact that in the top 10 was the legend Iwanko, and for me that's total BS. In my book, it should be the other way around. He should be top 10 of the best legends for how unique he is. And if you follow me, you've seen how much I've used that legend, you've seen what I can do with him. And I want you to keep in mind that if he wasn't such a rare unit, I'd use him even more. I've had teams where he easily was the best option, but I skipped him to make like it more accessible, something like that. So Ivanko in the bottom 10, a joke in my book. Another joke is that Kizaru and Fuji didn't get second last place because that's how bad they are. Obviously, honestly, a contender for number 1, I'd say personally. Kanjuro, second place is also a joke because Kanjuro is legit good. I'd still rate Iwanko higher, personally, but Kanjuro is just a good, unique legend, and nobody else can do what Kanjuro does. And like in the Super Boss Kizuna, where we had Kanjuro and Kaido debuting, and Kaido being a super OP Super Quest exclusive, the unit that has back damage the most was not owning Kanjuro, because there are no replacements for him, basically. So, yeah, that was rough. Really disagree with that. As for Legend of the Year, not much to say. Luffy won, of course. Nami, Sanji, and Robin. I say what I said before. Could have put in Sora instead of Sanji here. Doesn't make a big difference. Other overlooked units, like if there's a bit too much focus on Free Spirit in general. could have easily put in like versus Kaido. Like they do have Kaido and Yamato together on the vote, I think. So with that in mind, like them together is like one of the highest value legends released in this time period. But yeah, not much to complain about, but yeah, when we got to this award, I kind of spaced out because the winner was so obvious, the top unit was so obvious. Nothing I really cared about personally. But yeah, that's my recap of the OPTC Awards. I hope you enjoyed. We'll see when I upload this. I'll do it like whenever there's not any big news or something during this treasure map. But yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.